It was
Training computer.
approximately about, in extra and business licenses is around somewhere between 4,500 to 5,000. And the increase in sales and use tax is around 6,000.
Is that total or per month?
That's total. From the
That's
beginning.
excluding 3 places.
And that doesn't include.
Yeah, the three that were already there.
That includes Gus Hot Dogs, Southeastern Salvage, and,
Garden Ridge,
Garden
soon to be
Ridge.
some other name, but,
and I
It didn't include that?
Delta did not include that.
Just other districts?
because they would be the new things that came in pursuant to the.
Okay.
No longer 10,000.
I was informed today that Garden Ridge is getting ready to change their name. They've been purchased by somebody.
Yeah,
else.
they've got signs in the store that's, I
At
can't remember.
home something, but they're getting ready to,
Yeah.
they're getting ready to change their name and put up new signs and stuff. So if you see that going up there, it's because they've been bought out.
Let me make this request, if you don't mind, if you get, when you scan it, can you send it to Carolyn? And she'll
Mhm.
get it out to us every month?
Yeah, I'll send it
Okay.
there.
All right. Yeah, she'll make sure we get it. That's as far as the budget. As far as the department heads, so y'all meet with them, with the
We're
department
gonna
heads?
with them today.
Yeah, we,
Finance committee, I'll call for a finance committee, Carolyn will send out the notice to all councilors as far as when the next finance meeting will be, because we will be going through the budget with a fine tooth comb.
Can I say one thing, Mark?
this is from the mayor was right. We did meet with the department heads today to tell them about their budgets. I did share with them that even though the city is doing well financially, I have received a report from S&P, and I'll send everybody a copy of it. One of the things that they talked about that we were strong in 5 or 6 different areas, but one of the areas that we were average was in our budget and how we allocate resources in our budget and how we actually spend according to our budget. So I shared with the department heads, all of them looked like deer in headlights when I first shared it. Because I told them that they will probably not receive the same amount that they got last year. It's gonna actually be more. So we're looking at, based on priority and need, with slashing everybody's budget from
Was
what
that
it
part
was.
of the proposal that's been recommended before, that we only budget 90% of revenue?
Well, number one, that's in the state.
That's state council.
Yeah,
State
well,
deal.
But
And,
we've done more than that.
Yeah, so last year we did 99. We spent we had $1 to come in, we spent 99 cents. So this year, we're really gonna work hard to only budget 90% of the projected revenues.
Okay.
So when you all receive the budget, hopefully we will hit that mark, but the goal is.
Yeah, and that's what I was asking, that's why we're gonna go lower to try to hit that mark.
Yeah, so that's just an update on where we are.
So it'll be, what, lower than flat before we get rid of it?
It'll be lower than what, yeah, it'll be, unless there's some revenue that's coming in from a place, that I don't know where it's coming in. I mean, I know that the money's coming in for the auto mall, and that extra penny is coming in for that, and that is great. But the thing is, you don't want to get in the habit that every time you have revenue coming in, you hike your expenses up to what the amount of the revenue. I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Oh, really?
I was preaching this before you got it.
Well, that
And
exploded.
I will say an amen to what Mr. Stewart said. He was.
So that's
So
what
I
we.
thought I was looking crazy sitting up here saying
Oh,
this.
no,
And city clerk sitting over here ain't said a word, ain't bagging me, ain't
He got
saying,
you.
okay, Councilman Wilson, yeah, I agree with you.
I have to make sure I stay in my lane.
We understand.
So my lane now is just to deliver you all the budget. So I'm just sharing with you what the mayor and I talked with the department heads. But that's, the goal is really to make sure that we only spend 90%. So
Okay.
we'll see how it turns out.
All right, questions? Yes, sir. No. Oh, okay. I think that's it on that part. Next is policy and procedural changes. I've asked Brandon, and you have a rough draft. I think everyone was given a rough draft of our policies and procedures as far as how we conduct our council meetings, pre-council meetings, and so forth. Saying that, of course, as everyone knows, we went to a new form of government this year. So therefore, the policy and procedures that we had in place did not reflect municipalities that's over 12,000 within Jefferson County. So I have taken, myself, Brandon, Carolyn, have taken some of those procedures and incorporated it into our policy and procedures here for the city, since we're under a, this is not it, I don't have it. Since we're under a new form of government here in the city.
Do you have it?
And like I said, we're still working on it, because every time something comes, I have it. Yes, thank you. Every time something comes up, and particularly, as far as the agenda is concerned, and I know we went back and forth with this, and I think everyone was in that meeting. We had a very good meeting at the league. I don't know who all was in there. I know Council London was in there. I know the mayor was there.
That was a roundtable discussion.
It was a roundtable discussion.
Yeah,
I know Council Pike was there. I don't know if you were there or
I
not.
was in the round table,
Okay.
just not at the same table.
Right.
And, you know, several things were brought up, agenda items were brought up, the duties of the presiding officer came up, and it also came up during the Ask Your Attorney question session. That came up also. So I want to make sure that what we're doing and how we're conducting business here for the city coincides with what state law is and what the presiding officer is allowed to do at that particular point, at this point. So read over this. Like I said, if any other changes are to be made, of course, we're gonna, can we highlight them in red also?
That was what I was gonna ask for, if we could highlight the changes.
I can make the changes the easiest way, if y'all wanna just email your changes to me.
Yeah, that's to me, is I wanna know what's changed from the current procedures.
Can we?
In other words, is this different from?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll put them in red.
Yeah,
That would be
and also,
right.
it's easy to alter them in Word too, if you wanna just send them a Word document, and then if y'all alter it in Word and send it to me, then I can make
Well, I'm
changes.
just more interested, like in the draft we have now, what changed, so I can specifically look at that. And
Okay.
read through the whole 7 or 8 pages, I still might not know what changed.
Carolyn, she worked on the whole.
Section 7 is different.
I know section 7 is different, one of the sections.
No, I don't. I just
says
got it.
presiding officer.
I have the previous ordinance, because I think that's the draft that I initially sent to Bobby Joe, and I made some changes. from-
Well, whenever you're ready for it to come before council, all I wanna do is just know what changed.
James.
And we'll put it all in red.
That would be perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I'll give a copy.
We'll put it all in red,
I
and
can
we'll go
get
back
it.
and discuss it also.
Okay.
I have a copy of it right there. Oh, that's good.
I think one of the other questions that we have, and this is the last one we have on the agenda, is the pre-council meetings. Council Pike, I did not understand exactly the full gist of whether or not we, under law, we need to have pre-council meetings or whatever.
It's not
James,
required
you may
by
wanna-
law.
You may want to comment on this also, but from my understanding, there's not a law that states that we have to have a pre-council.
Let me explain.
Hold on, one second. Council Pike, you looked into something or something, I don't know. I don't wanna comment more because I don't know what, I didn't read the whole gist of it.
I was speaking with our city attorney, and I mentioned meetings, and he said, we have far too many meetings that, why do we have a pre-council meeting? It just, we don't need it. It's not required by law. It gives people a chance to get up, and get all, upset about things, and it's not about that. It's a business meeting. And we need to come in, and we need to have a work session like this, and look at the agenda items, and talk about them, and talk about what we're gonna do about each situation. And then when we come at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whichever time we may choose, to have a council meeting, we are to come in, we are to take care of business, adjourn the meeting, and leave. And that would alleviate a lot of misconceptions and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was a very good idea if we had a work session and we talked about everything that was gonna be on the agenda. We came in, conducted our business, and that was it. He was telling me that a city or two does have pre-council, but a lot of cities do not have pre-council meetings. So, you know, I just wanted to, I don't know, I mean, I never looked into, I thought that we were required by law,
No, you're not.
to have a pre-council meeting. I don't know why we're doing it, I don't know when it
Well, it's
started.
something that's always done before I became mayor, and I continued it, but we didn't do it up here, we did it in the back. And in Ramsey did it in the little bitty room, the snack room back
He
there.
sure did.
Some
He sure
cities
did.
do them on
When I
a
came-
different
And
night.
nobody
I came
could
on
get
all
in there
three.
but the council.
That's right, that's where we
That's
used
where
to
he
have
did it, in that
the
little bitty
red
room,
Okay.
and the public couldn't get in there. But you don't have, all you have to do is have the door open. You don't have to have comments from the citizens, and you don't have to have comments on the agenda from the citizens.
That's
It's
in
up
the policy.
to y'all.
We
And-
don't have any comments in pre-council from the citizens, do we?
No, but you don't have to have it in council, I'm just telling you the law.
But there was
It's
a
up to you.
debate the other night about a commode that was broken, you know, in my district. Nobody had ever told me about it. And so there was a debate in pre-council, and it's like, this is not
What
why
do you
we're
gotta do
here.
with a commode?
There are policies and procedures that people need to go through. If there's a broken commode, for God's sakes, just tell the person, the council person, or email you.
What do you
and say,
got to
"We
do,
got a
what have you
broken
got to do
commode."
with a broken commode?
My
You can't do
goodness.
anything about it.
You know?
Well, I would-
She's married to a plumber, if anybody
I
can,
know,
she can.
it's like, we'll get the commode fixed, it's not a big deal, don't get your blood pressure
They
up.
want you to fix it.
Well, that's one of the things we, in our
So I think that it
roundtable,
would alleviate a lot of that, excuse me.
in our roundtable discussion, they talked about a lot of the cities, other municipalities, they didn't have work session on different nights. They would have, if they'd had one, they had it right before their council meeting. And then they went right into their council meeting.
But you
Well,
have,
and
if
that
you do
was
have a
the
work
public-
if you do have a pre-council or a work session, you have to open it up to the public.
Right.
You can't close it.
Right.
I can give you all a little history behind the work
Please.
sessions. Now, when I was on the council beginning in 2007,
Mhm.
the work session was on a Monday night at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
And the reason that it was changed, because nobody showed up. So you have 2 or 3 people to come on a Monday night, it wasn't enough people to go through the items. Then you would still get to the council meeting on Tuesday, and everybody would sit up there and still say, we need to go through all of the information. So it was like defeating the purpose to come on a Monday, you didn't have people to show up. And then when they came to the city council meeting, they still held the council meeting hostage because they wanted to go through the discussion of all the materials. So that's when the council, pre-council was moved to say, okay, well, we can't get everybody, like, I agree with Terry about, you know, sometimes you can meet too much to meet. And when you get to that point, people are not gonna show up to, you know, you can't take everybody's night on a meeting.
Right.
So that's why pre-council was moved to be at 6 o'clock. And then the council meeting was at 7. So it only required a person to come out on Tuesday instead of coming out on Monday at 6, and then coming back on Tuesday at 7.
well, we're doing this.
The reason that we
we're
put it
doing
up, the reason we put it up under that because it was a lack of participation.
Now, let me follow up what James said.
That's good.
People, you know, as James said there, I was coming to the work sessions, and there, as he said, you know, at that time, there were 7 people on the council, plus the mayor. And you might have 2 or 3 council members show up, didn't even have enough for a quorum. And when we came on the council, Bob Saunders and I have been coming on a regular basis for years. And instead of having a work session on Monday night and council meeting on Tuesday night, we suggested that we have our work session as a pre-council meeting. And we do it all our work session there. And then if we needed a special work session sometime, then we'd call a special work session. But how many we have of those, 3, 4 a year?
But
We
that was-
didn't
that
even
was-
average one a month.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so,
but that was the
and
whole
so we
form.
took care of everything in the pre-council meeting on our work session.
But,
But-
yeah, things are still ran the same way, but that was a different form of government.
Well, it's-
But our roundtable
it's the same
discussion,
thing. I mean, you know, if you.
was everybody with this form of government, with the table, in our roundtable discussion they had, was everybody with this form of government, that they do their work session or just the pre-council, but they don't have a work session on a different day. They had it before council.
All
And
the
that's what-
same.
And that was the purpose of doing the pre-council meeting in the last we decided instead of having to come down here another night, just go ahead and
I mean, the thing is, if everybody, you know, get everything on in time, they read it, and once they read it, if they have any questions, and they get those questions before they get to the council meeting, then that would help to expedite the council meeting. But if you haven't read the materials, and then when the item come up, and you are not sure about what that item is, then we'll be here all night by the time everybody get through quiz, and everybody will want to know what was in the documents, did you read the contract, what did the attorney say, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it can be done. It's just gonna require everybody to kind of step up their game to make sure that when you get here at 7 o'clock, you gotta be prepared to do the business of the city. And you can't come in wanting to ask, you know, a lot of questions, or I guess, you know, my thing is too, is that the reason that we put a person's name by an agenda item is so everybody can know who put that item on the agenda. So if you have questions, you can call that person before you get here on Tuesday night to find out what was their intent, or why did they put it on there, or why, you know, you can call an individual counselor and pick their brains to find out why they put something on there, and that's why we put the name by there. So if anybody has any questions, like, okay, well, let's call John London and see why is this on here about the parks, instead of waiting until you get here, and then we have to go through that whole diatribe about, you know, why we did that.
Yeah, I'd rather be here 3 hours, one night a week, than 2 hours, 2 nights a week, you know?
Let me say a response to you. I remember, I did that. I suggested that in '04. Some of y'all don't know if you remember. We used to have items on the agenda. I never knew who put the item on there.
That's right.
Never knew. I asked Linda from that point to start putting the name of whoever council member
Because they
brought
know
that
about
agenda
it.
item
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Because nobody would come forward and say anything about who put what on the agenda, where it come from, because I wanted to know.
Well, that's
So I
that's-
asked Linda in '04 to start doing that.
Well, we
If
put
you're not
that
willing
in
to
the-
put your name by it, you don't need it on there.
That's right.
Well, we put that in this organizational meeting the first night, you know, it was on the ordinance. The name of the person that put the ordinance in, their name is stuck to it.
Right.
Well, she did it sometime, but most of the time it wasn't done. I remember that. But anyway, moving forward, you have a copy of it. Like I say, it's a rough draft. We're still working on it. We're gonna put the items in red as far as the changes that are being made on it. I guess after that, that's it. I don't have anything else on
I
the
just
agenda.
have one.
We do need to talk about, we do need to think about the next time we meet, whether we want to change the pre-council and the work sessions. However y'all want to do it, but like James said, we need to be focused when we come here.
Yeah, you know, in that roundtable discussion, by those different municipalities doing it that way, they were very happily married.
What, John?
Having married,
And I
if
would
they were
say,
happily married,
Happily married.
Had it on the same night.
having on the same night.
I would say that we have a work session at 6, the council meeting night. If it runs over past 7, put a provision in here. We'll start at 7 unless work session or pre-council meeting exceeds the 1 hour limit, and we'll start immediately after work session with 5-minute break.
Whatever time you have on the council meeting is what time you have to go by to start the council meeting. You can, the law requires us to notice it and start it on time,
Okay.
and we have to notice it, when 7 o'clock gets here, it's noticed for 7 o'clock, the council meeting should start,
Well,
no
and-
matter what.
Council Michael?
Well, I just think that there's some debate or there's some confusion with our citizens about, you know, what happens in the pre-council at the end of the agenda and what happens at the end of the regular council agenda. So is the question, we do not allow comments or questions at the end of pre-council to say
That's
do
what
they
I'm
or
asking.
not?
Well,
That's up to y'all.
The current ordinance, because it hadn't been amended. I mean, the 2008-67 is still in effect because it hadn't been amended.